What is going on, Napoli Nation TV? We have a really special guest today by the name of Marco Messina. You guys should know him from IFTV from back in the day. He still does, of course, record on there, but he's made his way up to CBS Sports Golazo. Marco, we love your takes on there. By far the best on the analyst station. And we'll start off just about you. Go ahead and give them a little introduction for people that don't know you. And let's start from there.
I love that intro, by the way. It gets you pumped up. Man, once I hear Decibel Bellini, your whole day could be made better. I know it's early for you, Dan, in California, but I think that's why you're going at 6 a.m. Thank you, boys, for having me on this podcast. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to be here. And yeah, I'm Marco Messina. Started IFTV, and now I work for CBS Sports and Paramount Plus, who has the Serie A and Champions League rights in the United States. So it's been an awesome journey. I've been able to go over to Napoli a couple times, and I'm really excited for this Serie A season, which I think is going to be the most competitive in all years. I know I'm big on Napoli, and I said that they would win last year, and I'll tease that I have a prediction that I think you guys might like a little bit later on. But the truth is, nobody in Italy has been able to repeat in quite a long time, so it's going to be a good year.
I'm glad you have high hopes for us because we're starting out kind of shaky. So it's good to hear from Marco.
Wait, come on, shaky. Oh, it's 6 points.
I mean,
all right.
1-0 against Cagliari, it's a little concerning. But so tell us specifically how you got into CBS. You don't have to specify too many crazy things, but just in general, how you got to that point.
Yeah, so it was really just about putting out a lot of content. It started back now in high school. I was telling you guys before, I have a bad memory, but I remember those days early on. It was just I started with a Twitter account and just saw that there was not a lot of people talking about Serie A, the league that I love, the league that I grew up watching from being a little kid, because my parents are both from Italy. And Sunday mornings were just my father putting a chair in front of a TV and being like, this is what we do all day. And I always kept seeing different amazing channels like Kick TV and all these fan channels. I don't know, shout out Kick TV if anyone remembers them. They were amazing back in the day. In my high school days, I used to run home from school and watch Kick TV. And they focused, obviously, on the big Premier League teams and the La Liga teams because they did a really good job marketing themselves in America. But a young kid with the chip on his shoulder, I said, I want people to talk about Serie A. There's so much beauty in this league. And started with a Twitter, then eventually YouTube became a thing, hopped on YouTube, started recording videos in my grandpa's garage, which is probably the most scared I've ever been, was to ask my grandpa to clean out the garage, for me to clean out the garage and to use it to film in, just with an iPhone and literally one of the headphones that came with, and actually a Samsung. I wasn't even able to get an iPhone back then. And just went from there and slowly kept doing that for years and years and years and years. And then once CBS got the rights to Serie A, it's now 5 years ago, I think 2021, time has flown. They reached out to me, Pete Radovich from CBS. He found me doing videos online, reached out, and I did not think it would be something that, I never thought about it before. Yet somehow it was something that felt so organic and so natural. And right from the first moment that I stepped on set, I didn't have experience. I didn't have broadcast experience before. Just, again, more self-taught because I didn't go to college for it. And from there, it clicked and I loved it. And I'm really grateful to be going into our 5th season at CBS and thankful that there's at least somebody in the right holders to the league that love the league and want to show it off and want to give it the love that I think it hadn't been given for too long before that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So from very humble beginnings, and then now you're at the pretty much way top. I mean, CBS is no joke. So tell me, in general, what is your fondest memory in college? I know you've been watching it for quite a while, so it might be hard to pick, but just that one fond memory.
So I know I just built up Serie A, but there's nothing, and I told you guys before when we were in the green room, Italy just does something to me. I get goose, like literally just even thinking about the national team. So my best memory, 100% without a doubt, is 2006 when we won the World Cup. Just the fact that I was able to watch it with my father and my sisters and my whole family. And then my mom, we went to 18th Avenue in Brooklyn and just shut down the street from 75th Street to 86th Street. There was just no walking. I mean, you could only walk, no cars, nothing. Just going crazy. That celebration was incredible. And I wouldn't be here today. I say it all the time without Italy winning the World Cup in 2006 because it just ignited that fire when I was like 10 years old. And then to do it also in 2021 again with my father and to have, we were live for every game. So to be able to watch back exactly our celebrations. I know it's something that I'm going to show my kids one day. So I feel like I was able to see the full circle of watching your country, the country that I love, that my family is from, win the World Cup and the Euros. I know it's been hard times now, but there's not a lot of nations that have been able to do that. So for truly, that's my fondest memory of Calcio.
That's awesome.
Hey,
So now that we
Marco,
got, yep, go for it.
Hey, Marco, how old were you when you left Sicily? You were in Palermo growing up, right?
No, my father was. I was born here. I was born in Brooklyn, born and bred. I lived in Italy. I lived in Italy for a little. I studied there in college, but my father was born. My father was born in Sicily, in Palermo, and then he came over when he was about 15, 16 years old.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool.
Sicily's beautiful.
Yeah.
The amazing beaches down there.
I know the Americans are ruining it now, though. All of a sudden, nobody used to know my father's town. I don't even want to say it. Now, all of a sudden, they got signs in English. They've got tour guides. We used to go there and be able to do anything we want. Now we've gone back. It's like you got to make reservations for stuff. But it's a good thing. It's good that it's growing.
Yeah, I miss living down in Napoli. The lifestyle in Italy in general is just, in my opinion, just superb compared to anything that I've been through. So now that we got kind of a taste of your history, let's talk a little bit about Napoli's history. They can soon, hopefully, they can get a back-to-back Scudetto. But in general, do you think that doing so, getting 3 Scudetti in 4 years, would that make Napoli a dynasty?
I think they have everything to do it. I think that's the perfect terminology. And I don't remember where I said it. I think it was on one of our first podcasts of the season that I think this Napoli is building a dynasty. And I think we have to give a lot of credit. He's often criticized, and I think in the past he's definitely been rightfully criticized. De Laurentiis hasn't always made the right decisions, but he's made it right. It's amazing to see his tweet the other day of the Rock that they're starting to build the training facility and that it started on September 1st. I mean, to do this as an entrepreneur, to do this as one guy, he doesn't have these big funds behind him, these wealth management. He's done it sustainably to build on top of an incredible project. They're also signing a lot of young players. They're making the right moves. They truly are building a dynasty. Now they have to execute on that. I think that they will. We'll see if they can. But it's just remarkable that we're going into a season where they are the betting favorites to win the league. And they have every right to do so. I think keeping Antonio Conte, first of all, showed how serious they are because we know how demanding Conte is, and that means that he believes that there's a serious project. He doesn't like to take big bets. He wants calculated risk. They have the players to do so. They're at that right age. Things need to go their way, but I really think that this Napoli could be a team that in the next 2, 3, 4 years could build something true. Not just in Serie A. I think even in Champions League. This team, I'm seeing the makings.
Boy, here it comes.
I'm seeing the makings. I've witnessed this before. This is now twice, and I just go on pattern recognition. At Juventus, Conte built this team up. He built Inter up as well. Both of those teams went to 2 Champions League finals. They were not with him. He left before he started out that project, but make no mistake, he built the foundation. And when I heard him before the season say, maybe in the past I made a mistake. I gave up on those projects too soon. I should have stayed. It leads me to believe that he thinks he could take this Napoli to a Champions League semifinal or final in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think it's going to happen.
Well, I sure hope so. That'd be amazing. The first we've gotten is what, quarterfinals?
Against, what was it, Milan?
Against Milan, yep.
Hey, that was a crazy year.
First game, too. It sucked.
Man.
It sucked.
How did they not go through?
Yeah, I know. That was our golden year too. Crazy football being played. So real quick, I do have a question.
Hold on, Marco. I gotta say something.
Mm.
Marco, that's not only a hot take, that's a sexy take. I love it, man. I love it. Napoli in the Champions League final. Oh my God, I'm gonna start putting money in my savings account now.
I would love it.
But don't jinx it now. So we have a question from Michael
I don't believe in
Rinaldi.
jinx.
Yeah, okay. So he said, Marco, that he's met you on Paramount Plus days when you came to Philly with IFTV guys watching the Milan game. So here's
I
his
remember.
question. What does Serie A need to do to help grow interest in the league here in the U.S.?
Man, I remember that Philly trip. That was fun. We went to the Cafe Gran Aquila, if I remember the name correctly. It was a great game. And then I think we recorded a podcast afterwards. So shout out to you, Michael. Good to hear from you again. What does Serie A need to do to help grow interest in the league here in the U.S.? A lot of things. I think one of the key things they need is time, though, as well, because we can look at the success of the Premier League. And I could say, even living in Brooklyn, I could go to Park Slope or Williamsburg, and I could find Everton clubs. Like the tiniest teams will have fan clubs and be wearing their jerseys. It takes time to build that up. And I think that Serie A is starting to make the right decisions. Again, I know I'm biased because I do work for CBS and Paramount Plus, but I think it's a beautiful thing that there's somebody giving the league the love that it deserves. And I remember, again, going back to that chip on my shoulder, being that kid with the chip on his shoulder, when I couldn't watch Serie A on TV. It was super difficult. And I would be tweeting, come on, why is the game not on TV? How are we going to watch it? And that hurts the younger generation, right? That hurts that fan base. So I think they need to connect. They need to continue down this path. They need to keep showing it, keep spreading stories, lean in to the madness of this league because it's got something that no one else has. Making this investments within the United States are absolutely crucial. And I think, what's another thing that's been on my mind the last couple of days? Really, I truly believe this. I'm starting to see so many creators, Serie A creators, people talking like you guys. There's so many others. The Dybalexa, Luca on TikTok. There's so many. That's a good thing. Like, we need to work together to be making it known, all the storylines within Italy, and making it understandable for people that don't speak Italian, that didn't grow up with this league. That's what the Premier League has. If you think about it, there's a million Premier League creators. Not now. I'm talking about even 2014, 15, 16, 17. And they started collaborating, and they grabbed this web of people, and they helped you understand the league, and they made it so consumable. Serie A not being an English-speaking league doesn't help us, right? So the more that we could do all together, I think is going to help. We're not going to see it in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, but I think within time, that's actually going to help a lot of people follow the league. And it's something that in the last maybe month or two has been on my mind more, and I want to see what I could do to even help more.
So Gianluca did have a follow-up question kind of to that. Is why doesn't CBS run a Serie A fantasy league through their platform? Would be the biggest grab of North American fans. Sincerely, someone who's been asking for 4 years. He does kind of make a point there because CBS does run stuff like this for the NFL and NBA. So why not for Serie A?
I don't know. This is way above my pay grade.
That's what I was thinking.
I just talk about the league. I don't make those decisions. It's a good idea. To be fair, it is a good idea. We did a Fantacalcio last year on the show. We won, by the way. I was the only one who did any work. Freaking guys on the desk left me blind, but somehow we were able to win. But it is a good idea. I know a lot of my friends play the Italian version. What is it? Is it the Gazzetta one that everybody's... I know Peter, one of the guys on our podcast, Peter Curto, he's part of Fantasy League, but I think it's only in Italian. I don't think they have an English version. So It is a good shout.
So we'll stray away from the stream questions just as of now. We'll let you guys build that up. So what are your thoughts on Napoli's summer mercato now that the transfer market has finalized?
Yeah, do you think that the transfer market is what's meant for a club that's trying to build a dynasty?
So I love how early they started the market. I was so pumped to see that because I've been inside of Conte's training sessions, his preseason training, and it's one of the most crucial things. He's rejected jobs because he doesn't have a preseason to teach his ways. And the fact that he was able to get a core group to have his preseason, to struggle. I've spoken to players, current Napoli players within it, that say how hard it was, how difficult it was. And he takes a long time to integrate his players, but eventually they get there because you need to learn the way. So I love how early they started. I do think at the end it dipped off and they didn't do enough. And I think they could have done more. And I say that because, and maybe I'm holding the team to too high of an expectation. They definitely won the market out of any team within Italy. But I still think, you talked about the game against Cagliari, I still think they're missing that 1v1 player, that winger, to really take them to that step above. And again, maybe I'm holding them to too high of an expectation. I still think this team is good enough to win the league. I think that they will win the league, but I'm talking that next level. I'm talking about competing in the Champions League. I think they lacked that. Even if you were going to sign a youngster like a Nusa that could have been promising for the future, I wanted them to make that, and they didn't. And that was probably my only disappointment with the market.
Yeah, I think Michele makes a great point that a proper backup to Di Lorenzo and another high-level winger were definitely needed. We know that Di Lorenzo is a workhorse, but you never know with injuries in football. Mazzocchi's not going to cut it. We don't have anybody backing up Di Lorenzo in the same formation for the UCL. So we'll just see. I know we didn't close on Ndoye. So
Ndoye. I mean, you look what he's doing in the Premier League. I did say I thought the price got outrageous for Dan Ndoye. This is a player who also, one of my pet peeves is when a player, I've watched a player for such a long time and nobody gives him a lot of credit, and then all of a sudden he has one good season and he's this phenomenal that you gotta completely overspend for. Dan Ndoye is a player who in his last season scored the same amount of goals as his 3 seasons combined. He never did that before, and he credited Vincenzo Italiano for playing him closer to goal and not playing him out wide. So he was amazing. I'm not taking anything away from him, but when you do look at what he's doing in the Premier League, he's already been so vital for Forest. You have to think how good he would have been, and the fact that Antonio Conte wanted him, maybe it was one of those that you should have overspent for. But looking back in the moment, I did say going towards 50 million for Dan Ndoye, I think would have been excessive.
Do you think that this could be one of those things that that we hear how Conte feels about it at some point during the season? Because Conte has got to be disappointed that they didn't get that dynamic winger, right?
Yeah. I think he's got to pick and choose his battles. I think that he got a lot of the guys that he wanted. He begged for Lorenzo Luca. He wanted Højlund. He got Kevin De Bruyne. So he got a lot of the pieces that he wanted. Did he get all? No. Very few coaches are able to get more. It is something that we could look back and yeah, it could bite the team. But who knows? It's still hard to say. Not necessarily Ndoye, but for me, it's that profile. That same sort of profile that I think could have taken them over the edge. But again, this is also a new Champions League format. This is a Champions League format that Conte has not experienced, and it's a little bit more forgiving. So maybe maybe it's a measuring stick until January where there's some sort of opportunity and Conte tells De Laurentiis, hey, I'm seeing something special in this team. Let's see how they perform against Chelsea. Let's see how they perform against Manchester City. You put in good performances there. He could tell De Laurentiis, guys, he could tell them, this is the time. Let's get somebody in January. They could take us over the edge. I feel like there's a moment in time we could push further on in Champions League. So that's probably my hope there.
Hey, you know who I'm thinking? In January, we sold a dude in January for about that same amount. Who
do you
could
want?
They try to get in January? An
Who are you
unhappy
thinking?
player right now.
Chiesa?
No.
Who?
An unhappy player sitting
Lookman?
in Bergamo. Yeah.
I wanted him all summer. But there's a reason why they didn't go there. Maybe I wonder if AFCON and the fact that he's going to be out for a month impacted their decision, or I don't know. I read stuff that he didn't want to go there, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I think he's one of the best players in Serie A, if not the best player in Serie A. He's just so unpredictable. He could change a game on its moment. He's the exact right profile. I think he's worth the money. I hope he doesn't follow Osimhen. I hope he stays in Serie A because I want to watch him week in and week out. But yeah, it could be a shout.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that the Osimhen situation, how Napoli handled that, probably has a little bit of effect into his decision making. I would hope not, because that was very unfortunate how some things that occurred just because of one person that made a big mistake.
But also at the same time, everybody gave up on Osimhen. No Premier League team got Osimhen. He was destined for the Premier League. Yeah. This had everybody was looking for a center forward. There's a merry-go-round, and he didn't seem to really be in that conversation. So to me, That's also a glaring side because for me, the talent of Osimhen can't be disputed. It can't.
Exactly.
The guy's top. The guy's top. Now, if it's the agent contracts, bonuses, salary, I don't know. We're not part of that world, so it's hard to say. But it's definitely telling that a team like Chelsea, a team like any of the big dogs, Arsenal, I thought would have been perfect for these guys that they didn't get him.
Yeah. I was thinking he would make his way to Arsenal, but that didn't end up happening. He would have been very successful there. So you did mention at the beginning of the stream that you had a pretty hot take. You wanted to go ahead and
it's the Champions League. It's a Champions League one.
Mario, I knew that was it.
That's my one.
I knew that was it.
That's my one.
Conte is his guy. Conte's his guy, man. He knows that Conte signed with Napoli at the very beginning because Conte wants to do something he's never done before. I'm telling you.
Listen, I get a lot of things wrong. I thought Spalletti was going to be good for the Italian national team. I don't know. I've had a lot of bad takes. I thought Lorenzo Pellegrini, when he was at Roma, that 2021 season, I said, oh my God, this guy's going to be a starter for the national team. Now we don't even hear about him. So I've definitely been wrong about things. But I know Antonio Conte pretty well. I watch every interview. Again, I was part of his preseason. I've spoken to so many players that have been within his camp. And he's just a guy that I'm reading his book still, his new autobiography. Like, you have to understand the mindset of him. I think that he hates that everyone is talking about his downfall in Europe, that he's not able to go far in the Europa League and the Champions League. He sees Napoli as this moment in time. And again, you know what it was? It's the four midfielders for me that all of a sudden things started to click, because that's what he did before. Marchisio, Vidal, Pogba, Pirlo. That was one of the best, if not the best midfield in Europe at the time. And he dragged them to compete at a high level. This team has the makings for that. Can they do it? It's still a lot to be determined. They need, we said, injuries. You need a little bit of luck in the Champions League, but it's definitely possible. And I think he's got that chip on his shoulder.
So what do you
ask you a question about that? Do you feel like Conte is willing to see the project out to get to the Champions League final? Like, his contract ends next year. Do you think he would extend it if he thought the project was still pushing to get to that final, or is he going to call it next year and that's it? What do you think?
He's always he's very specific with his choices. He tries not to put himself in any bad situation. So it'll depend on De Laurentiis and a lot of stuff. He's spoken so much about raising Napoli's profile with the stadium, with infrastructure. I saw today that they've increased their salaries by 31%, 32%. That was one thing that he also demanded. He said, we need to raise the average salaries of the team. So it's giving all the signs that he wants to stay and he wants to go for. So today on September 5th, I don't see why he wouldn't stay. But again, he's somebody that also left Juventus in July, in like the middle of July, after committing to them. So you can never fully predict Antonio Conte. That's one of his downfalls. But one of his big upsides is what we saw in the last year and the way that he could make a team that nobody would have been able to compete at the highest level. And for me, they have everything to build on that path of Champions League.
Thank you, Marco. We appreciate your hope and faith in us. We were predicting the highest that we would go in our last video was the semifinal of the UCL. So I'm hoping we can even get close to that. Even another quarterfinal, I think, would be. I don't know if it'll be successful or a disappointment if we don't get there. Having Lukaku injured is kind of a big deal right now, as you can see with our front on the Luka. He obviously needs time to mesh in the squad, but I'm gonna give him time. I'm not going to be too negative on Luka. He's brand new, whole new system, formation, tactics, etc. So let's go ahead and get off of our topics for a little bit, just because I know we're reaching the 25-minute mark. So Michael, he says, why is Grella so negative towards Napoli? Napoli have 75% possession, control the game, and he says they win ugly. Doesn't he see how hard it is playing against a low block?
So, to each their own. Everybody has a different definition of what they see as beautiful. We argue, if you think that we argue on camera, we argue 30 times more off camera. I mean, it's cat and dog. He's like my older brother. He's like that older brother that no matter what, we just have to find a way to fight. And it is fun. I'm not gonna lie. We have a lot of fun with it, and it only takes like a little thing, or even if he scolds a player at all during a game, and boom, we're back to screaming at each other. Like I said, to each their own. Everybody has something different that they see. For me personally, I watch football for emotions. I watch football because I want to be pumped up. So there's games that you're gonna have to defend, and you're gonna have to fight for your life, and you're not gonna be more talented. But as long as you inflict that emotion, and for me, there's no coach in the world that gives me that emotion like Antonio Conte teams do. Now, is it 1-2 passes, intricate all the time? No, not every game. But but they had moments. I mean, come on, we can't say that they didn't have moments. The game against Inter, that's supposed to be the best team that was built up all last year. Napoli dominated Inter. Inter were lucky to tie Napoli last year when Billing scored the 1-1. Inter was not able to beat Napoli over 2 games. They were not able to beat them. And they did have a better team on paper. They have better technical players and ball dribbling players. And I do love that side of football. I love the 1v1s. But this Napoli, for me, it's beautiful. For me, personally, I see it as beautiful. The game against Cagliari is probably not the best representation of that. But I've seen Man City, who has the best players in the world, struggle against low blocks at times. But either way, we get on tangents and we go off balance. And I do get what he means. I understand what he's saying in the macro picture. I just don't think it's not always. And it's not beautiful. Again, it's subjective. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And for me, what Napoli have done is absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful to shatter all expectations of what's in front of you. And I also remember when Conte had Inter playing against Barcelona with Stefano Sensi. I don't know if you guys remember this game. They're playing out of the bag. The ball's going over the top. So for me, there's beauty. It's not always. I'm not saying it's always the best type of football, but I love it the most. What do you guys think? What's your take?
I mean, for me, honestly, yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, I would love to see Napoli win Scudetti with a team that played like they did when they had Sarri as the coach. I mean, I'm not going to lie, but it's easy to watch Napoli win Scudetti and not worry about how beautiful it is. And I have some of the same ideas. Like, if you're playing the way Cagliari did, which was a defensive masterclass, and you're able to still not let them hit you on the counter and get a goal and then win at the end of the game, to me, that's beautiful, bro. Because they won the game and Cagliari couldn't do anything. So, yeah. For me, beauty is trophies. Beauty is trophies.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is one thing that I always remember. And again, I just think that it's not a one size fits all for me, right? There's Spalletti's Napoli played some of the most beautiful football. And I remember Spalletti saying specifically, he goes, Napoli fans watched Maradona. We have to play beautiful football. That was Spalletti's idea. That's what he built. That was the type of coach. And guess what? He was successful. He did something that hadn't been done in 33 years. That doesn't take anything away from what Antonio Conte does. I don't think either one could do what the other has done. And there's beauty in both of them to me. I understand the movements, but also Spalletti had Kvara, Osimhen. I mean, he had a team that had all the resources. The Napoli didn't always have those resources. They had to find a way to win, even in the moments when they couldn't play that beautiful football.
They did have those resources back in the day with Cavani, Lavezzi, and Hamsik, though. Imagine if we had those 3 players with the midfielders and backline that we've had in the last few years. Oof.
The problem was Juventus back then. That Juventus team, I mean, when you had Cristiano Ronaldo and Sarri's Napoli deserved to win. They deserved to win a Scudetto for everything that they were doing, even beating Juventus in Turin. But you can't. That's one of those where it doesn't take anything away from the team that lost. You have to just applaud and say, you were so much better than me. Period. They won because of the individuals. Dybala, Higuain, Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, it's almost impossible to win against that trio and just sheer players.
Okay, Mark, we're going to throw just a couple more questions. I know we're in the 30-minute mark. So Gianluca here says, who do you see as Napoli's weakest link in the starting 11? And do you think there's potential for them to lose role to someone on the bench if we have it?
Okay, so I like how you prefaced before, but I was very negative on this player, and it's only 2 games, but Luka is the weakest link for me in this team right now. I get that it's early, but he was doing even the simple things wrong. This is not to say that we're going to throw a player, never going to see him again, but he's further away than where I expected. And I have to say, because again, during the game, I was freaking losing my mind with Luka throughout the match. I just didn't enjoy it. And I felt a lot better. If you guys check on Twitter, DAZN posted a video of Conte reacting to Luka every moment, and he's flipping out at it. Even Kevin De Bruyne was flipping out at it. I have to say, it made me feel a lot better that I wasn't that harsh on Luka. He hasn't had a good first 2 games. He could still turn it around, but he's just, even when you're not effective in scoring, a center forward has to find a way to impact the game. That's what Lukaku does. I think Lukaku is massively underrated in that aspect. If you just look at his goals and assists, you're not judging what Lukaku brings to a team. Luka needs to also find that for me.
So Napoli Club Toronto did ask, what was your rating on Napoli's mercato? I know that we did touch on that earlier, but if you had to just give him like a little rating, what would it be?
I'd probably go a 7.5, 8.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. What about you guys?
I gave them an 8.5, but that's only
okay.
because we ended up picking up Hoyland too. I was a 7.5 and 8 until we did make that move, just because I wasn't so sure about Luka. I would still stick to that point, just because Luka does have potential, as Vincenzo also mentions here. He is very raw. He was meant to learn under Lukaku, literally taking the words out of my mouth, and now he can't. He just had to really do so. So
it's a good point. It's a very fair point. Yeah. But we have to judge by what we see. We have to judge by what we see. Again, does not mean that he's not going to become great. Mm-hmm. But as of today, he is the weakest.
Easily. All right, guys, we'll throw him one more question. This is from Dr. XP. Do you think Napoli average age of 28 will be worrisome in the years to come, especially with the money spent this year? Kind of like what Inter's dealing with their older age.
Good question.
It's a good question. It's a good point, especially when you see teams like PSG and how young they were, and they were able to win at a high level, and you see the rest of Europe. I still love experience. I still think experience, as long as it's balanced out, like you do have youngsters that you're trying to build up. I think that means that you're a team that's ready to win right now. When you have a team that's 28 years old, and that does fit Conte's profile, he has oftentimes gone towards that, and he's been successful. So I think long term, they do have solutions, though. They do have solutions that I think that they'll be able to build up in the future that could come from the youth team. So is it the most exciting thing in the world? No. But I think for the next 2 years or so, it'll put them in the place to compete for trophies.
You know, and some of the players that we got in the transfer market are of younger age too, like the Marianucci's and the Noah Lang's not getting, he's not super old. Luke is not old. I think, you got a good point. The mixture's there. I just think we have to hit every summer transfer window. We've got to hit those areas that are weak in, and we didn't do that with the winger. So we'll see how that works out.
Also, I want to see Bukamal get into the 11. It's going to take him.
Me too.
It's going to take him time. I'm telling you, this is another one that I said a while ago. He's going to become. He was one of the best defenders in Serie A in the last years. He has gone under the radar for a very long time. He is so smart on the ball. He's so aggressive. He's good with the ball as well. I've watched him in person. I've watched him for years at Bologna. The guy is going to become a nailed-on starter. It's going to take a little bit of time, like I said. Tough preseason, new team, new expectations. Conte said he wants to rely on the Juan Jesus for the time being, but for sure, by the end of the season, Bukamal is going to be a starter, and I think Bukamal all of a sudden becomes a name that the rest of Europe, they're going to watch him in Champions League and see, and they're going to say, oh, wow, we didn't know who Bukamal was. He's that good of a level for a center back, in my opinion.
Yeah, and as good as Rachmani has been for Napoli, he had a pretty good sleeper season last year. Obviously, we also know that he plays very well with another center back that is of high skill. But you know, in all fairness, I would easily prefer Bukamal just because we know his potential compared to Rachmani. Also, he's younger than him. I don't know when he would end up starting. I'm hoping sooner rather than later because I do want to see him being implemented before UCL, which probably won't happen because that's very soon on the 18th. But yeah, also our goalkeeper topic is a little bit tough. I don't really know how you feel about Medic or Milinkovic Savic, but who do you think should be starting?
So I think it makes sense to start Merit for now. It's, again, he's starting Juan Jesus. He's going with the right profiles. Besides De Bruyne, who in the 11 is a new player. It's players that know the system, that are there, and that makes a lot of sense. Conte's always been that type of coach that waits to implement the strategy. So this is a topic that my dad and I fight about all the time because my dad's a huge Medic guy. And I've loved Vanja Milinkovic-Savic for some years. He's just been like that random player that was on Torino that every time I watch, I'm like, this goalkeeper's so good. Why does nobody talk about him? So I loved when they signed him, but I know my dad thinks I'm crazy. And literally, we're like going back and forth when we're at dinner, when we're getting a coffee, when even in text message, if I see Vanja, I saw Vanja in the probable 11 before the game. So I said it to him. I said, oh, are you going to wake up now? And then when Merritt was in the 11, he said, no, it's time for you to wake up. So we've been going back and forth. I think that they're two very good goalkeepers. For some reason, Vanya's like that soft spot that I felt like for a couple of years. And then the fact that he made the move to Napoli, I want to see him there. Merit is obviously, I think Merit is a good goalkeeper. He's a very good goalkeeper. I'm not sure that he's an elite goalkeeper. Is he one of the best goalkeepers in the world? For me, no. But let's see. Let's see. It's a good thing to have. All the best teams in Europe nowadays are having two very capable goalkeepers. So that's just another example of how Napoli has been raised to a level of trying to get where some of the best teams in the world are, where they have alternatives.
Yeah, me personally, I'd prefer VMS just because I know Mehmet can be a little clumsy with his hands. He's not okay. The thing about Mehmet is that he's great on penalty shootouts. I don't think he's talked about enough in that aspect. He's always been amazing at that. But in terms of like overall skill set, I would easily take VMS. I think that he is elite. We saw his days at Torino. He single-handedly saved games for them. You know what I mean?
He's a good penalty saver too. He had some crazy stat. I can't remember off the top of my head. I remember I had it last year. But he's just got a phenomenal wingspan. He's kind of like Gigio Donnarumma in the sense that I think he starts like a leg up against an opponent because you have to put it in the perfect corner to beat him. Because if he predicts where you're going to go, he's going to save it.
Yeah, Vincenzo does make a good point. I think he is more of a Conte style keeper as well. Okay, guys. So we've reached the 40-minute mark almost. If you want to throw just one or two more questions, I know we've held Marco longer than he expected here. I'm sorry about that, Marco. I know you said like 25 minutes max.
You're good, bro.
But if you guys want to throw him a couple more questions before we do head out, I'm sure Marco wouldn't mind. Meta is great. He's not used his brain.
What the heck, man? Mikael, what you
Mikael
doing?
has no filter, man. No filter at all.
No, Mikael is a jokester, man.
Dan, what about you? Who do you like?
Oh, VMS, without a doubt. He has.
Wow.
I don't think he has any weaknesses, and Medit's not as good as with his feet, and Medit seems to fumble the ball sometimes, and Medit's not the greatest at the long shots that come into the goal. So, I wanted to ask you one question about Luka and Højlund. How many more games, Marco, do you think we'll see Luka if he's playing like this and not really making an impact before Conte goes to Højlund as a starting striker?
Yeah, it's a good question. I saw that that they were saying Højlund's not expected to start the next game, which I get it. It takes time. He had Luka for a lot of the preseason to understand his movements. Even if he hasn't hit the ground running, it makes sense to start him a couple more games. I think Højlund's going to be a really good player. Maybe that's another hot take for me, but I think Højlund's going to be a really good player for Napoli. I think he gives them the speed that they don't have. The runs in behind. He needs to be more clinical. I agree. He's coming from a bad situation, but I'm not judging a player by having a bad time at Manchester United. I'm simply not. There's so much negativity at that club. There's very few players who could go there. He did not deserve the 75 million price tag that was put on his back. He was not that type of player. He was a 45, 50 million euro player. He never scored double-digit goals from Atalanta. It pisses me off every time I hear some Premier League fans be like, oh, look, he flopped. He was great in Serie A, and then he flopped in England. It's not true. He was actually not a great striker in Italy at first. He was a young player who had potential, who had explosive raw talent, but need to be nurtured in the right way. And that was not the place to be nurtured because of all the obvious things about Manchester United. But I think, especially with Conte, who improves these sorts of players, I think he's going to be a really, really, really good asset for this team.
So somebody in the chat just talked about him playing against Man City, and I'm not sure if you're a big guy in predictions, Marco, but would you be willing to give a prediction for that game, that first game for Napoli at Man City?
Put Papa Vincenzo's comment on the screen. I like this one. This basically explains. He says Højlund away versus Man City should start for me. That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Like, this is the perfect moment for him, right? Against Man City, but also just tactically. Like, think about what Conte is going to do to set this up. Because the best thing about Conte is his ability to adapt. He's not stuck in one formation. He's never been. That's the biggest misconception about him. He adapts to the team that he has and to the opponent. So I would imagine he's going to start the 4 great midfielders to be able to hold possession of the ball and absorb that pressure. And look at Man City. I watched their game the other day. They are getting exposed in the back. Exposed. You could run in behind. Højlund is the perfect player for that. So in that sort of game, I think that he'll put Højlund there. And I had to give my predictions for CBS. They made me predict every single Napoli game. I can't remember which is between Chelsea and Man City. I had a draw and a win. Is Man City in Naples? It's away. So I had a draw.
Okay,
that's what I said too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a draw. And then Chelsea's at home, right?
Yes.
Yep.
That's the one I had to win.
Game. Yeah,
that's the one I had to win.
They played Man City away first and Chelsea last at home.
Although, if they don't have to win by that last game, then they probably won't. That's the only.
Hold on now.
That's my only asterisk.
Look, he's gonna
wait,
say
Marco.
Surprised I said that.
Marco, hold on now.
Tell me.
Conte coached Chelsea, bro.
I know, but it's a long season. If they already have top 8 secured,
Yep.
I'm telling you right now,
he's not gonna risk it. I tried telling him that. If not need be, he's not gonna do it.
Maybe a tie, a tie is fine. Again, it depends. We have to see the points. We have to see what could happen in the end.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's the last game all of a sudden, and it's, I could see that one being one of those. That's my only asterisk on that Napoli will beat Chelsea. But I feel very good about Napoli's chances in Champions League, and I think the top 8, they have to get top 8. You have to get top 8. So that you have that little bit of rest. And it's the first time he's going to be in the Champions League format. And I think it's going to lend itself to being a really beneficial thing for a Conte side.
If you guys did miss earlier, Marco did predict us as his hot take being in the semifinal or final of the UCL, which is pretty huge.
In the next 2 to 3 years, at least. Within. Please let it be this year. If the cards fall and if they can avoid, in Champions League, the truth is you have to avoid certain teams. There are certain teams. If you play PSG, okay, we have to see. It's a moment in time. PSG nearly didn't qualify last year. They went into the last day that they didn't get into the top 24. It's to be seen. Is Napoli the best team in Europe? No, they are not the best team. But Champions League has proven that you need a string of luck. You need things to go in the right moment. You need players healthy at the right times, and things can fall into place all at the right moment and allow you to win. But Napoli's midfield is second to none. That's what I'll say. Second to none in Europe.
I agree, especially with this new formation that Conte has been implementing too, trying to include Anguissa as well. Because I was worried about him coming off the bench. I'm like, he's not a player that deserves to be on the bench. It's so hard with those midfielders that we have. So we've reached the 45-minute mark. I think we're going to close it out right here. Marco, I can't tell you how much that we appreciate you coming by on a small Napoli channel. It means a lot to us. Obviously, you have high hopes on Napoli. We do too. We appreciate your ball knowledge as well. And Debo, do you have any closing words for Marco?
Nothing else, but just a sincere appreciation for coming on, Marco. like Mario said, small channel. We are, but we love doing this. We're having so much fun. I love connecting with my son, even though we're thousands of miles away. It's pretty emotional for me, to be honest. And having somebody like you on our channel is like a dream, to be honest. I admire you. I think that the path that you took to get to CBS was all about your passion for the game. And I'm a very passionate guy too. So thank you for coming on, Marco. I really appreciate it.
That was a very nice message. I really appreciate that, Dan. And listen, it doesn't matter big, small. Who cares? I said it in the beginning. I really think one of the ways that Serie A could grow is channels like yours, channels like I mentioned as well in the beginning of the show. That let's create this web. Let's create this web where we help not only talk to just the Napoli fans, but also educate people on the teams, the culture, the history of Serie A, and make it more understandable. I think that's the best way for the tide to rise and for everyone to grow, and especially for the league, because I want to battle it out at the top. For me, that's the most fun thing. The more we can be in front of the most amount of people, meaning Serie A and the Italian teams, the better it'll be for everyone else. So I appreciate channels like yours. I appreciate your passion, and continue spreading that love. And let's hope we have big memories to spread in Champions League as well. That's the one. Napoli, Champions League. They're the only Italian team that's given me a little bit of hope and a little bit of excitement. I'm not even going to blink during those Champions League matches. I'm going to live them to the max.
We want to see one of those iconic celebrations in your studio again, bro. That's
Dude,
what we want to see.
I swear to God, I love playing against the big teams. Like all I need is the Man City and Chelsea. Forget it. It's going to be 90 minutes of suffering, 90 minutes of sweating, of losing. But those are the best. Those are the moments that you live for. And then once they get into the knockout stages, that's where it'll get very exciting. And bit by bit, slowly, you never know. You never know. I have a good feeling about this team, though.
We do too.
That's you. Why you?
Once again, thanks
you,
Marco. Why you? We appreciate
anytime.
having you on. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right here. And thank you to our chat as well. 124 people watching right now. We appreciate you guys as well. Stay tuned for our next live on Tuesday. Yeah, go for it.
One more thing. We know
you think Marco's gonna say it?
We know Marco loves Napoli.
Nah, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna get in trouble.
He's gonna get in trouble. You gotta remember.
I'm gonna get in trouble. You get me in trouble. End the stream.
All right, fellas. Thank you so much, guys. Chat. We appreciate you. You guys take care. Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao.